I'm starting a new series on the incredible American baritone Lawrence Tibbett, and I thought I'd split these up across a few smaller videos. I've already discussed Tibbett briefly in my video on the 250th anniversary of the independence of the United States, where we heard him sing the national anthem. And today I want to talk about one of his great roles in Puccini's Tosca, as the evil Baron Scarpia. Now, Tibbett had one of the most diverse repertoires of any great baritone singing at the time. He did a lot of world premieres of American operas, but he also did traditional Verdi and Puccini roles. And as Scarpia, a lot of his vocal temperament and giftings were very, very well suited to the role. Tibbett had a dark, almost bass baritonal voice at times, but he also had a searing, hot, wide open sound in the passaggio when he wanted it, and he controlled very, very carefully when he covered, when he opened, even the speed of his vibrato. His phrasing was extremely intentional. He had remarkable, vivid dynamic control from top to bottom, and an excellent upper register. So he was just a column of sound and a true artist, which suits the Baron extremely well. Scarpia is a preeminently great villain. He is extremely cunning. He strategizes several steps in advance. And he has captured Cavaradossi, Floria Tosca's lover, for helping a prisoner flee from the law. And so what ultimately Scarpia is trying to accomplish is not just get Cavaradossi, that is of second importance to him, but get Tosca in his arms, because he has lusted after her for a long time. And so we're going to look at two great moments where Scarpia sings more independently and voices his true intentions openly to the audience. Now, Tosca is an interesting opera because there are not a lot of traditional arias except for the tenor. The tenor has two very, very, very distinct arias. So, Recondita Armonia in the first act and E lucevano le stelle in the third act, which are some of the best known arias in the tenor repertoire. Puccini writes one soprano aria in the second act, Vici d'arte, which becomes one of the most famous soprano arias, but he himself, as far as we know, was not the biggest fan of what that does to the act. He felt that it interrupted the dramatic flow of the second act, which really is one of the most dynamic, intuitively paced, electrifying, momentous acts in opera. It just flows from start to finish and has the audience sitting on the edge of their seats. So it is true that Vici d'arte places a sort of pause in the second act, as beautiful as the aria is. Now, some might argue that that works quite effectively because it punctuates the act in its two halves, so to speak. But in any case, the critical element for us today is that the baritone doesn't really have a proper aria in Tosca, but he does have two major solo moments, which we'll hear in reverse chronological order. In Act 2, he divulges his intentions to have Tosca, as he offers her a bargain. He will not be bribed for money to release Mario, but he could be persuaded if she agreed to be intimate with him. And in Act 1, we hear Scarpia speak directly in a soliloquy and divulge, while the church choir is singing in the background a beautiful prayer to the Lord, he divulges his ugly intentions of manipulating everything politically to place Tosca in a situation where she must yield to him. And so he prays blasphemously to God. And so ends the first act with a beautiful tritone sonority that Puccini utilizes as one of the great motifs of the opera. We will listen to a rare performance that Tibbett gave in 1963 for the Packard Hour. Now, this performance circulates in variable sound, and it was more recently released on the Stanford Archives release, and on the big Marston box set of Tibbett's complete Victor recordings and additional broadcast selections. But the best quality version of this broadcast actually sits on the old Lawrence Tibbett at his Magnificent Best CD. And so that's where I've taken my original audio source, and I've done some additional cleanup work. I felt there was something nostalgic about the clicks and pops, so I felt a little conflicted, but I removed them anyway, re-EQ'd the track, and then added a little bit of a stereo opening to the sound. And then after listening to that, we will listen to the Act 1 finale, with the chorus and the Te Deum in the background, just a short snippet, and Tibbett as Scarpia singing over it. What I want you to listen for is just how massive and expressive his voice is. Especially the Act 2, Già mi dicon venal, is just such a torrent of sound. He sounds like a foghorn. He sounds like a pipe of searing hot star liquid. And it's just magnificent. It's just what Scarpia needs to be. Larger than life. An absolute titan. A compelling, polished, noble titan of evil. So let's listen to the 1936 Packard Hour performance and hear Lawrence Tibbett truly at his magnificent best. Isn't that colossal? Isn't that just enormous? The high notes are so they are pillars. They're laser beams, but they're extremely large, thick laser beams. They're columns. They're laser columns of sound. Just such a persuasive rendering of the character. This shows Tibbett at his more powerful. This is right around the peak of his powers. His voice would start to decline, unfortunately, by the late 30s, early 40s. And one of the primary things that would happen is this level of discretion that he had in his middle voice in the passaggio, right around E flat, E natural, and actually even F and F sharp sometimes. He would choose to open, or he would cover. He could cover as low as D natural, perhaps even lower. What happened as his voice declined is that his passaggio functionally shifted down. So he stopped singing open around E flat or E and would sing very, very protectively. And so some of the power, some of the thrill, some of the excitement, the lava in the middle of his voice vanished. But it was still a very noble sound. I think noble is probably one of the finest words we could use to describe Tibbett's singing. It was polished. It was beautiful. There was something distinctively American about it, but it was at the same time very free and open, which is one of the great characteristics of the Italian sound. So it was not a constricted sound, much to the contrary. It was very, very vivid, wide open, beautiful, released. Even when he was covering, it was still a very released sound. And he had, again, extraordinary dynamic control and very, very intentional, intuitive phrasing. He was an extremely intelligent singer and a great actor, which is why he was such a favorite for creating so many roles in his day. Okay, now let's listen to his earlier 1929 recording that he did for Victor, and we'll just listen to the ending of the big Te Deum. In 1929, he did 2 takes of this, one on April 3rd and one on April 10th, and we're going to listen to the earlier of the 2 takes. They're both excellent. So you'll hear here the chorus in the background singing the big Te Deum prayer, and Tibbett as Scarpia sings his malicious intent before God as he bows down before the Lord, that he will have Tosca, and that she even makes him forget about God. So it's no surprise that the second act ends as it does for a blasphemous man like Scarpia. The divinely ordained kiss of Tosca will unsurprisingly be a knife to the chest. However, it is a thrilling, thrilling sequence, and really establishes why Puccini was such a well-regarded and explosively popular composer. Let's take a listen. Beautiful tritone spacing in that line. Dark and sinister like Scarpia. Amazing. So, if you like Lawrence Tibbett or any other great baritone singers, please let me know in the comments. I, again, have several other ideas of what to talk about when it comes to Tibbett, and he had such an extraordinarily diverse repertoire that it would not be doing him justice as a singer to just look at him in one composer. Verdi's Rigoletto was one of the requests, so Kaji, I promise I am working on a video on it. It's just difficult to figure out exactly what to highlight because he has 2 great broadcasts as Rigoletto and also some excellent other recordings. But I appreciate everyone tuning in. Thank you so much, and I look forward to hearing from you, and have a wonderful day.